Okay, and we're here for what is actually map 4, but judging by the consensus of the teams, they didn't want to count the Ilios game. Those bans just weren't considered. Um, and the entire game, I guess, was just uncommunicated, and is not going to count for the series. So we're here for a map in what is actually being recorded is a map 3 at map 3 tied at 1-1. We're on the new map, Neon Junction. It's my pick. Mostly just because nobody knows how to play it. It's very, very new. Why are we on Hanaoka? I don't see a Clash game being very fun to cast nor play for either of these teams. But I guess if that's what they want to do, then that's what they're doing. I think it's a really interesting decision. I'm not sure why they're choosing to play on Hanaoka. Never mind, they're going to King's Row. Okay, I guess they just didn't like my idea of playing Neon Junction, so now they're on King's Row. I hate this map with a passion. A lot of them don't, and so I guess they're okay with it. But I guess it is a map that at least they'll know how to play. And I mean, I know how to cast it. This has been a really interesting series so far. We can just really see where each member of the team, each team thrives. We've got some really playmaking, shining, impactful players. On the red team, we have Fat Boy and Zucchini Pants, Daniel and Max. They have been the playmakers. They have really been the ones to make the team shine. Ripley, of course, is doing well as well. Is really taking the positions that are open to him, and I don't want to count him out of this race. Okay, no, we're back on Neon Junction. But yeah, on the blue team, we have Tor, really the star of the show for blue team. Has really been doing a lot. Maybe not on that last game on Gibraltar. He was forced onto, maybe not forced, but was on support there to give Nick a time to shine on tank. Didn't really turn out too well. Not to Nick's discredit, he's a good player, a confident player, but didn't really turn out the way he expected. Especially not into such a burst-heavy anti-Winston comp that they had on that defense. And surprisingly, I think my I'm not sure what to call it, but my upset, not upset, but my man of the match, who I didn't expect to do much, but it's actually a very integral part of this team, is Kurt. Kurt is doing a lot, surprisingly more than I'd expect, and it's really impressive. He's finding a lot more picks and a lot more plays than I would expect to see out of a player of his experience. And it's refreshing. It's really refreshing. But each team has some very confident players. Support lineups, for the most part, are where the new players are being shoved. We've seen Matthew on support that last game and the game before. He's been trying his hand at some sim. Doesn't really seem to work. Hello, Brody. Huh? Yeah, I am, yeah. I am also actively recording. But the recording can't hear your voice, so right now, whoever's going to be watching this later is just going to be hearing me talk to myself. Yeah. I'll keep this in. Maybe I'll edit these recordings, I don't know.
Now arriving at Neon Junction.
Fat Boy or the Dang?
Initiate.
You talking about the Dang? Oh, I don't know why there's only 4 people in the call. Hold on.
Now arriving at Neon Junction.
Oh no, it's just... Okay. Huh. Anyway, weird. So we are on Neon Junction, the map I suggested. I am happy that there's no King's Row here. What was this? Honorable killing of self? I didn't see what that was. Anyway, this map, let's explore this a bit. This, when I was playing on last, is a very interesting area to be. Really a low ground side angle, topped by, for defense, topped by a high ground side angle for the attack that looks straight to that objective. A really powerful long angle that, if controlled, can really shut down a fight for the attacking team. Or, I guess, for the defending team, shuts down the defending team. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This room, there's a mega here. So I guess this choke is just a very powerful one to hold. And if they can get into this side room, they have a really powerful walk-up with a mega onto the blue team's defenses. On the defense side of things, controlling this side room is really good for them. It gives them a great side angle onto any plays the red team tries to make. Okay, so we got Seb, Bigs Minds on Kiri, almost one tap immediately at the gate, and half the team, the rest of them. That's just like powerful 5-strike out of Toron. Toron Rhine is something that I haven't seen. And we got Daniel on his tried and true Doomfist. Seb manages to find Matthew on the Ash really early into the fight, and that kind of forces them to back out. Kurt is in the middle of nowhere, fighting in a 4v1 in the backline, dies expectedly. And now Blue are down both their damage heroes for this push. This is just going to look like a really promising objective capture for Blue team. I've seen more upsets though. I've seen more upsets. And sorry, I meant objective capture for red team. We'll see if Tor can make something happen here. Suzu to come back to life here. Managed to find Kiri. That's a really, really good counter pick for Blue here. Elijah's going to try something on Shion here. It's going to get shut down by 3 of them. Tor goes straight back into the team. Ripley has died by himself, or to himself, with the rocket launchers. The rest of Blue is back. Obviously, their tank is dead, but so are the half of red team. They want to hold this space, but they manage to only get 1 tick. Daniel just sees an opportunity and takes it instantly. Really, really good at that, just pouncing an opportunity as soon as he manages to find it. Managing to kill Matthew slightly out of position there on the side of the objective. Max follows up on the low health Lucio opportunity made by the Doomfist and finds one. There is a Kurt in the backline on the Kiriko, teleports away in time to not die. Tor tries to hold on to this objective, and it doesn't manage to work. We've got Kurt here on the Genji, kinda in the side here, managing to back off. And now we're on the second point. Really, the highlight of the second point is the train in the bridge up here. I'm not sure if it'll get used by Blue team at all. It might be exciting to see someone die to the train on this map, but we'll see how it goes. Ripley and Daniel push up really far. Ripley manages to find Matthew again. 3rd time he's been picked first with the barrage. And Nick manages to equalize by killing the Doomfist. And now Maya is stuck by herself in the backline. Managed to get 1, I think, before dying to Kurt. But Max manages to kill Kurt there to try and equalize that. Does and gets away alive. And so red team have the push here. We're under the train bridge now. Under the train. It's really just not looking like it's going to get even a lick of screen time on any of these players' perspectives. A shatter that gets half cancelled, but it does manage to find the Juno in the back. Unfortunately, there is no finish, and Tor dies after that earnest play off the shatter. Daniel is in there, but he's just like ruining their squishies, especially without that tank. The entire red team just have free reign on the rest of Blue. Tor making the swap to Junker Queen here, looking to kind of control more of probably Daniel's position, maybe the Pharah. Really just going to try and play a little more self-sufficiently, higher damage, more mobile, more aggressive hero. Rush comes out from Elijah on the Kiriko. Our better rush from Seb here to just like cover this space. The Judo ult here may be unnecessary, but still exists on red team's side. But obviously, it is like enough to solo this. Maybe the most unnecessary Doomfist ult of all time to secure that objective. But is a kill either way. Max here fighting really up front. Daniel's jumping in with him. That dive combo of Genji Doomfist between two competent players is really powerful here. Blue don't really know what to do about it and can't get away from it. Ripley here on the off angle, going to look for a pick with those high damage rockets that Farah has. Really on an impressive flank that I didn't know existed. Marvel Rivals ass map. Daniel manages to find Kurt completely out of position there on the side. And Max kills Nick with the deflect. I'm not sure who was shooting into that. Maybe it was Nick, maybe it was someone else. Either way, kills. Elijah manages to trade out Max, but they are still down. Elijah now kills Ripley as well. Kiriko has now found both the damage that have died in and now died, but Daniel manages to shut down that Junker Queen, trying to push in to find more of an advantage. That Doomfist is just really strong here. Very, very dominant player. Confident, high skill. All over one of the stars of this match. Dragon Blade out of Max here, but it's just all Daniel's. It's just Daniel's game. Max gets shut down by Nick, but too little, too late. The domain of Diva Matrix kinda does nothing but to prolong the fight. Daniel here in the backline, chained once again. Is just fighting, doesn't die, but also doesn't get any kills. It's just an even trade. To maybe take this space. Ripley here now on the Farah, on the Widow, sorry. We'll see if he gets a pick. Let's maybe lock into this perspective. I don't know if I can or not. We can see here the full fight happening in action. The Junkrat, the Junker Queen ult goes in just to secure the space, secure one or two kills, and really like close down the fight. A very successful Deadeye out of Matthew there on the Cassidy. Finds two to really just close out this match. Daniel gets alive. Last man to live. But that is a fight win for Blue. One of their first this game. Down here doing his Doomfist things. Just trying to find this off angle. We'll just poke here. He can't really go in on any of this. Daniel's gonna try to shut down this Genji here though. Maybe it's an effective play just to give them the advantage on the numbers. Straight into their team. Yep, the Meteor Strike makes sense. Finds Matthew dead center, looking like Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Kiriko Rush and the Domain out of their supports on Blue team will equal the fight in terms of power. A Dragon Blade from Kurt finds nothing, unfortunately. Nick manages to kill Ripley on the flank, but Max has killed Elijah. It is 1-for-1 on supports here. A really huge punch out of Daniel will seal this fight as over. Too squishy, too vulnerable. Dragon Blade out of Max really to just get the last kill and close it out quicker. Good try by Blue, but there is just too much pressure from this front line. Daniel on the Doomfist is really maybe the most impactful player in this entire lobby in the past 3 games, and it really shows. He is a powerful, confident player with a lot on his plate, and he's eating every single fight. And you know, that really makes the difference for Red Team here. We'll see if there's any comp changes here. We'll see how Red Team approaches this defense. Maybe not too differently, but it is a unique map. And we can see how they'll handle it. It is mostly the same comp. Ripley is breaking out Symmetra. Maybe is toxic, but is also maybe a throw. I don't know how well he'll do here, but we'll see it happen and we'll see him try. Elijah on the Zenyatta, maybe to just lock down this Doomfist, right? This Doomfist has been very dominant, and if they can just get as much burst damage onto this guy as possible, that is what they're going to try and do. The same with the Roadhog. That's the same vein of decision-making. Comp strategy is to just deny the fuck out of this Doomfist. Previously thought dead. Everybody really knew he was alive. We found out I think yesterday in a new cinematic that Doomfist is alive and he's coming for Vendetta's head. Maybe not in this game, there is no Vendetta, but this character's alive and well in the lore, and Daniel really makes that show. Immediately a pick straight onto Kurt here, just always manages to find a support in a little too much of a forward position and really finds that pick almost instantly. Max then manages to find Elijah on the Zenyatta, a very, very vulnerable hero. Big eats for a Genji, with at least a little bit of competency in their skill set. Ripley gets picked out by Nick though. He's just too far in without enough defensive positioning, no cover, and just dies. Max is going to find another pick onto Matthew after Elijah picks out who was it? Ripley, I think. I'm not sure. But, I mean, blue team can just find an opportunity to walk over red here. Max, I was about to say, is alive in the back line. No longer. This first point goes much more smooth for blue this second round. Managed to find two ticks off the first fight. And we'll see if red can manage to hold on here. With that javelin spin, no they won't. This Orisa pick is very evil. I think red team are probably coming like, wow, this is just unethical. Right into this Doomfist, it means a lot. Max manages to find Matthew in a side room all by himself. But blue team is just going to collapse on that Doomfist and Genji in the back line, eventually finding the kill onto the Genji. It is now evened out. Blue with spawn advantage will find Matthew back soon, and they'll have a 5v4 here on the counter push. There goes the train. Choo choo. Nobody's gonna die to that this game, unfortunately. He's holding this really forward angle here, as he should on Orisa. Max is really far in now, looking for a pick onto Matthew. We'll probably find it here. The Curie Rush doesn't find any assists, purchases, and Max here in the back line just has a really powerful position to get to. But just Kurt and Nick alive on the Orisa Juno managed to equalize this fight and hold on to the objective. Obviously a very hard duo to push into, especially if Nick can shut down the divers trying to kill his Juno. And that is seemingly what he's managed to do. Just denying this Doomfist from getting his most important teammate. Especially without any ults to show for it. Xenol's maybe to live, maybe just because he wanted to. Interesting, but even through the Xenol, Daniel still manages to find Matthew on the Cassidy, and then Elijah and Kurt both died to Ripley back on the Freya pick. Ripley's obviously dead here now, too far in to live, but also far enough in to find two. Maybe the worst Juno ult of all time out of Maya, but that's okay. And Nick is now staggered for this next fight. Doesn't really matter much, he's the tank, the fight relies on him anyway. But, finds one on his way out for a bit of ult charge. Or he already had his ult, actually, it doesn't matter. Alright, blue here, I think, are probably going to try and play really aggressively, especially with an early pick onto the Curie. It looked like Daniel's internet went out there or something. He was walking into a wall. Elijah with that pick there, though, on that seemingly AFK Doomfist. Max manages to re-pick Elijah. It lives for the moment, while Kurt on Juno finds two, one with his Vortex, one with his Blaster. Ripley is just last alive here in the back. We'll try and make something happen. Can't, though. His ult gets cancelled by the Javelin. A very, very ballsy ult in the first place. Was gonna have, like, no value either way. Not sure why he did it. This is really just a messy game from Ripley here. Not much value being provided by him. as far as I can tell, in this round. Max is here in the backline. Slash dash, well not slash dash, but dashes into Elijah. Daniel's his backup though in the backline, so he doesn't manage to die. But blue team are closing down slowly. But they do manage to find two between Daniel and Max. Seb finds a miracle third headshot peek onto Tor here. Kirk's dead. A dead eye out of Matthew here just to close down the Doomfist. But unfortunately, Nick on Orisa is traded out as he kills the Genji in desperation. But, I mean, with spawn advantage, Ripley's dead here really early as well. Elijah finds two people pushed up far too far. He's solo pushing cart here. Blue is going to have all of this space now to just take after those picks late into the fight. Far too late than they should have been. This Orisa really just doing her job to close down the Doomfist as much as possible. Thor on this side flank is trying to make something happen. Javelin onto Genji, shuts him down. First that is his gauge, but Genji is now on this off angle, probably looking to Dragon Blade after this Juno ult goes away. He's really hiding up on this ledge. It doesn't look like it though. Daniel finds one anyway. Ripley finds the second. Max does manage to find Matthew. He gets two with the Dragon Blade onto the backline, and that is a dominant performance out of those three players on red team. Ripley, Daniel, and Max, once again, just finding all those picks in very quick succession. Nothing blue can really do about it. They're pushing him with that Juno ult, but they just can't find anything out of it quick enough. And then, once that goes, they're just left stranded on the point in the middle of three very high burst damage characters. And really just dominates them. Elijah here on the side angle is like just shooting, pops the trance to live, and Tor really opens that fight up with a great Death Blossom, and Nick follows up with two more. This is gonna look like a final desperation fight. It looks like Max and Seb are waiting to touch. I'm gonna see a rush out of here and a immediately cancelled Pharah ult, no value out of that. Daniel is in the backline fighting a Doomfist, but a Cassidy, and is not there in time to touch the point, and blue cap with more time on the clock than red did, despite how dominant of a performance red have had in the past round. Blue are turning this fight around. It really seems to be an attacker's map here. We'll see how this third round goes. It's going to be desperation play after desperation play with only a minute on the clock. We'll see what red team can do here to secure at least some time on the objective. But if blue can play this well, they can shut down this defense and go for a single tick on the objective.
Ready for battle.
Okay, Max is going to go the Orisa. I know he hates, and we're looking at an unethical comp out of Orisa Bastion here. But to be fair, blue have been playing this Orisa the entire second round, so there's not much I can say. It is a Orisa. It was an Orisa Bastion mirror, but now Ripley has decided to go Reaper. Seemingly the last time he picked Bastion didn't go so well on that Gibraltar, so he's gonna try something else here. Maybe just looking for a little bit more mobility. Never mind, he's now on the Hanzo, maybe looking to get those really, like those miracle picks that will give them a fight. We've got Shield Orisa here, and we'll see if a Bastion can just play behind this Orisa Shield here and just close this down. Max is now really far in. He's playing very far forward and dies from an anti-Zen Bastion onslaught, as expected. Just far too desperate to make a play happen. It's a minute on the clock, but a minute is not 2 seconds. They have some time to try and get a better position than that. Red are going to do what they can here to try and hold a little bit of space and maybe poke someone out without their tank present. Max is back now. They're going to look for another fight. Max, early Fortify, now has no abilities here to use. Suzu to get rid of the anti. Elijah just finds Daniel on the Genji in the backline. The Bastion is killed by Ripley on Freya, but Elijah finds Max on tank. Ripley has now found 3 this fight. and has really gave Red their best shot, but they can't do anything with it. Really finding some really good picks, but the rest of his team just too eager to make something happen and dying too quick. Alright. Blue team here on the attack now have 1 minute and 46 seconds to find one tick on the objective. I'm expecting to see a unethical Overwatch be played out of both these teams here. A very nasty, dirty, disgusting, stinky bunker comp out of red team here. And that's what it is. We're seeing Junkrat come out of Daniel again, so dominant on that on Gibraltar. We'll see if he can replicate it this game. Max back on Orisa for another round. Ripley feeling himself after his triple kill in that final fight on Freya. On his attack is going to stick it into the defense. Using this long range that he has, this map applies as well to try and make something happen. He's going to play around the back of this statue here, but look, it's cover after cover after cover. So he may have to play closer than he wants to find value, but that may not matter, considering that they're on Orisa and Junkrat. Blue team here on D.Va. On D.Va, that's interesting. Maybe looking to get a quick dive onto a squishy to poke him out. Elijah is unfortunately instantly dead to a Freya. I'm eating my words. He got a kill almost instantly. They're going to do what they can here. One down. It's not like they lack heals, but they lack the damage, the crucial damage output that comes out of having a Zenyatta on your team for the moment. The Zenyatta is back though, and Nick has decided that D.Va is not the play. But we are seeing Tor off... no, Nick was on tank the whole time. Seb finds a miracle pick onto Matthew here. And it's just another roadblock to a successful push for Blue here. Just a couple early picks that really stall them out. Nick on the Orisa here. The Orisa mirror pick now. We'll see what happens. Just a whole bunch of AD from both tanks here. Trapped by the Junkrat is really brutal for Nick there. Dying to that infinite burst damage coming out after that Junkrat trap. And that's going to put another 20 seconds down the bin for blue team here. Elijah just barely surviving there. He's maybe getting a little too brash. Bane-whited into a team without his tank alive. Matt here on the high angle, trying to find a pick with Kurt as well. Mostly just healing their team. Tor on the Bastion, trying to find something. Is getting really bursted out by this Freya. Just barely living. Now 3 are going to die to this. 2. 1 actually. Elijah was 1 tap on the Lucio. Nothing is found. Blue are now down. It looks like nothing can come out of this fight. And I think that's going to be it. I don't see the rest of their team ever touching here. And that is going to be a draw out of map 3. Impressive. Impressive hold by red team here, especially after how quickly they lost the point in the first attack from blue team. Yeah, this is really the Doomfist difference. On that attack, it just meant so much, but as soon as they gave that Orisa over to Nick, he could really do so much with it. It was genuinely a much slower game for both teams after that switch. Really not letting Red have their fun and forcing a mirror match to bring the game to a draw. But, I mean, it was a good decision out of Red Team to really give up their ego and play for that Orisa, that Junkrat, that Bastion, that bunker, that far back comp, because without it, they certainly would have lost. Obviously, it's less fun Overwatch, but that's how it has to be. These teams do care about winning. I think as this series has progressed, they care more and more. They're trying more and more. But I can feel the frustration coming from Blue, from all the way over here, that you know, they're frustrated that they couldn't turn that match into a win. They really had a favorable position going into that 4th round overtime. They needed one tick and they just couldn't find it. Red really impressively managing to hold on for a draw there after having to abandon their powerful picks to play for a more slowed down Orisa focused playstyle. But a really impressive match played out of all players. Once again, I'd say my man of the match is probably Daniel on that Doomfist. Just so dominant, forcing a complete role swap out of these players on blue team to hold on to the game. Is really just the one in the match making the difference. But yeah, that's the series. It ends 1-1, unfortunately. And there's no victor, but there has to be an end. And that's the series.